The taxi had barely rolled to a stop when I saw someone sprinting across the yard without shoes, without hesitation, without caring that sharp gravel cut into bare feet. My neighbor dropped a basket of fresh laundry into the grass, tears already streaming down her face before she reached me. After 6 months alone at sea, I expected silence, a dusty porch, and maybe an empty mailbox. I never expected someone to run toward me like I had just come back from the dead. In that unforgettable moment, I knew something had happened while I was gone, something that would change the meaning of home forever. Before we continue, if emotional stories about kindness, hope, and second chances mean something to you, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness so you never miss another heart-touching journey. Working on a cargo ship had always been my way of surviving. The ocean paid better than any job I could find back home, but it demanded everything in return. 6 months of endless waves, lonely nights, missed birthdays, and holidays spent staring into dark water became my normal. Every time the ship sailed away from the harbor, I promised myself it would be the last contract. Yet another bill always arrived, another repair needed fixing, another reason to stay away just a little longer. My small white house sat alone at the edge of town, and my only regular contact was through short messages whenever the satellite connection allowed. I lived quietly even before I left, so I assumed nothing much could have changed. The neighborhood looked almost exactly as I remembered it. The old maple tree still leaned toward the road. Children's bicycles rested beside driveways. Wind chimes danced softly in the afternoon breeze. But there was one thing that immediately felt different. My flower beds were blooming better than they ever had before. The grass had been trimmed. The porch had been swept clean. Someone had cared for my home while I was thousands of miles away. Before I could even wonder who had done it, my neighbor Emily came running barefoot across the lawn. She wrapped her arms around me so tightly that neither of us spoke for several long seconds. She simply cried into my shoulder while trying to catch her breath. The laundry she had been carrying scattered across the grass behind her, forgotten completely. When she finally stepped back, her face carried both relief and exhaustion. It was the kind of expression people wear after holding a heavy burden for far too long. She looked older than she had 6 months earlier, not because of age but because life had quietly added invisible weight to her shoulders. She led me onto my own porch before I noticed a small envelope tucked beneath the welcome mat. Inside was a simple handwritten note. It listed dates, tiny repairs completed around the house, reminders about packages that had arrived, and one sentence that immediately caught my attention. It simply read that home is easier to protect when someone believes another person will return. As I stepped inside, everything looked exactly where I had left it. The furniture was dust-free. The refrigerator contained fresh groceries. Even the framed picture of my late parents had been polished. Every room carried evidence that someone had quietly protected not just a house but the memories inside it. Emily finally explained what had happened during my absence. About 2 months after my ship left port, several strangers began driving slowly through the neighborhood. Empty houses had become easy targets. One evening, someone tried forcing open my back gate. Emily noticed the movement from her kitchen window and immediately called the police before switching on every outdoor light she could reach. The men drove away before causing damage. Most people would have considered their responsibility finished right there. Emily didn't. She started checking my house every morning before work and every evening after dinner. She watered the flowers, collected mail, rolled trash bins to the curb, and occasionally parked her own car in my driveway to make the house appear occupied. During storms she secured loose branches. During heat waves she ran water through the outdoor faucets to prevent damage. During winter mornings she even shoveled the walkway before heading to work. She never mentioned any of it because she expected nothing in return. As she spoke, I realized how many tiny acts of kindness had quietly accumulated into something extraordinary. Alone, each task seemed small. Together, they became 6 months of faithful care given to someone who wasn't even there to say thank you. Then she admitted something she had hidden from everyone. Her husband had passed away 2 years earlier. Since then, loneliness had become part of every evening. Looking after my home had slowly given her purpose again. Each morning she had a reason to step outside. Each evening she had something meaningful to do. Caring for my empty house somehow helped heal the emptiness inside her own. Her confession broke something inside me. I had spent years believing I was the lonely one, sailing endless oceans while everyone else built lives on land. Yet right next door lived someone carrying grief so quietly that most neighbors probably never noticed. Over the next several days, I unpacked slowly instead of rushing back into another contract. For the first time in years, I truly paid attention to the neighborhood around me. Elderly residents struggled with groceries. A single father worked double shifts while raising 2 children. An elderly widow sat alone every evening watching sunsets from her porch. I began helping wherever I could. I repaired broken fences, trimmed hedges, fixed leaking gutters, and carried heavy boxes without waiting to be asked. Every kindness Emily had shown me seemed to multiply into another opportunity to help someone else. The neighborhood slowly changed. People who had barely exchanged greetings began sharing meals. Teenagers volunteered to mow lawns for elderly residents. One family organized weekend cleanups. Another started delivering homemade soup whenever someone became ill. It was as though one quiet act of compassion had awakened something that had been sleeping inside all of us. Months later, another powerful storm swept through town. Strong winds knocked down trees and damaged several homes. This time nobody waited for official help to arrive first. Within hours, neighbors appeared carrying chainsaws, ladders, blankets, food, flashlights, and generators. Everyone simply helped everyone else. Standing in the middle of that beautiful chaos, I understood something the ocean had never taught me. Real strength isn't measured by surviving alone. It's measured by how willingly people carry each other's burdens. Emily stood beside me watching volunteers work together beneath clearing skies. She smiled in a way that looked lighter than when I first returned. Grief had not disappeared, but hope had quietly found room to live beside it. That afternoon I walked to the harbor where my shipping company had offered me another 6-month contract. The money would have solved many problems. The ocean still called my name with familiar certainty. But for the first time, I declined. Some opportunities pay your bills. Others save your soul. I found local work instead. The paycheck was smaller, but every evening I came home before sunset. I planted a larger garden. Emily and I often shared vegetables over weekend dinners with other neighbors. Laughter slowly replaced silence across the street. People sometimes ask what made me give up life at sea. The answer isn't complicated. I came home expecting to find an empty house. Instead, I found proof that kindness can quietly stand guard over a person's life even when they don't know it's happening. If this story has touched your heart in any way, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, leave a comment, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your support helps us continue sharing true-to-life stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Before this story ends, we'd love to hear from you. Please comment below with one simple act of kindness that changed your life or one kindness you plan to do for someone this week. Your words may become the hope someone else desperately needs today. Whenever I look across the yard now, I no longer see the place where my neighbor ran barefoot through the grass. I see the exact spot where loneliness met compassion, where strangers became family, and where one person's quiet decision to care transformed an entire neighborhood. We often believe life changes through grand miracles, but sometimes the greatest miracle is simply someone choosing not to look away when another person is absent, hurting, or alone. Kindness rarely announces itself with loud applause. It arrives quietly, carrying groceries, watering flowers, collecting mail, or running barefoot across a yard because someone finally came home. And perhaps that is the most beautiful second chance of all, not the chance to begin life again, but the chance to remind another human being that they were never forgotten.